Hi YouTube world! Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. I am Adrienne. I live in New York City and I love playing with makeup. And this is my Shop My Stash series, which I call My Week in Makeup. So this is actually, I think officially week 20/21. I took last week off because I lost my cat, unfortunately, and I just needed a break. It was an exhausting couple of weeks and yeah, I just needed a little bit of a break, but I didn't take a break from makeup. I was still having fun. I'm not sure if you are at all like me, but I actually find a lot of comfort in doing my makeup. I like the kind of meditative aspect of just like sitting down and even like doing my skincare and makeup and organizing my makeup. And so I did a lot of that. I even posted a really massive eyeshadow declutter and I kept kind of doing some of that. I felt kind of like I was ready to purge things. So I want to be able to share with you all the things I decided to kind of try out these last 2 weeks because it's a lot. It's a lot. Firstly, foundations. So I have nearly edged in on having tried all my foundations and making decisions, but as I was decluttering things this week, so these are products even that I've gone through already during these 19 or so weeks, I don't automatically get rid of them. So there were a few products that I pulled out and I thought, let's give them one more chance. A couple of last chance foundations that came back into the mix were the e.l.f. Camo CC cream. I have mine in the shade 205 Neutral, and also the NARS Tinted Moisturizer, Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. I have mine in Alaska Light 2. So e.l.f. still didn't work. This just looks so heavy, so drying. I just think it just picks up everything that's wrong about my complexion. This one, on the other hand, I've changed my mind about. I think with the right skin prep, which I changed a lot of my skin prep, and I have like a little bit of a golden routine. And I know I'm gonna go off book, but I have to mention these two products that I've tried. So I kind of reorganized my skincare. And I've been trying this Haruharu Wonder Black Rice Serum. This one here. So after a freshly washed face, I put this on. It's super watery, gel-like, and just kind of absorbs really quickly. Immediately after that, I use the Haruharu Wonder Black Rice Hyaluronic Cream. This one here. It's a pain in the neck to get out. Like, the bottle is nice and ergonomic, but actually it's such a thick cream that to get it out, it's a little annoying. But the combination of these two products preps my skin so beautifully. And then I go in with sunscreen and wow, wow, wow. My skin has been behaving so well because of my skin just really looking kind of good just as a base. I just found like a lot of my foundations and tinted moisturizers, they looked even better, which is why I really thought maybe the e.l.f. one was going to look good, but even this one still didn't look good. But this one did, and even though the color is a little off, I'm wearing it today, it's a little too kind of yellow. I'll just put it on. You could see it right there. As I sheer it out, it just warms up my skin ever so slightly, but it isn't so jarring. And I definitely think that as the summer continues, this is going to be a pretty decent shade. So I'm bringing back this one in the mix, and I am definitely parting with e.l.f. Other foundations I sort of reevaluated were the Revolution formula. These here, this is the Revolution Conceal and Glow. I actually really like these. I don't like that they smell like paint. They're a great foundation though. Like if you want a fuller coverage foundation and you're looking for drugstore, the Revolution Conceal and Glow, these are great. One of the biggest problems I have with them is that I have to actually mix two in order to get my shade. I mix the shades F4 and F5. And I really don't also like that paint smell, so kind of reminds me a little bit of Wet n Wild. And since trying that out that week, I have recently acquired the Shiseido Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Oil-Free Foundation in the shade Linen, this one here. And I find like this is so good. It's such a good shade match. I love the quality. It doesn't have a funny smell. It has SPF. And I just found like, why keep these? Because they kind of provide the same coverage. This is so thin and can be really, really quite full coverage. And I'm not a full coverage person. So I'm gonna let these go. These are also pretty old and this is brand new. I tried the Catrice True Skin, another one where I have 2 shades in order to make it work. I have 4 neutral porcelain and 5 warm vanilla. Now, this product, I don't really love. It has a very strange texture. It's kind of like, almost has like a water in it. You'll see it's like very thick and moussey, but as you start to blend it, I don't know if you kind of could catch that. It feels like almost encapsulated water. And it's very thin, so I do like that. And it provides a decent amount of coverage. It is definitely full coverage. I just don't like the way it sits on my skin, and I don't like the finish it provides. It just looks a little too much, and it's not a product that I can easily thin out. Another product I whip out, it's actually not in the bottle it came in. This is the L'Oreal Tinted Serum, and I actually have to get 2 shades. I have to get the, I think it's the 1 to 2 and the 2 to 3. Whatever that range is, I have to combine both, and that's how I got this color. And then I just combined them, and I had 2 of these glass bottles. One of them I completely finished. I mean, I use that foundation that much. And then this one, it's, I'd say 3/4 of the way there. I'll just show you sort of the consistency. Has more liquidy. It's pretty thin. Really nice. Like, this is a foundation that is definitely up my alley. What I have found though, and I wonder again if this is sort of my weird relationship with hyaluronic acid, this has a lot of hyaluronic acid and I don't find it has enough hydration. I found this foundation to make me look older. Like, as the day progressed, my skin looked so dehydrated, even if I really prep my skin. So this was a little bit of a surprise because I really thought that this foundation was going to be kind of my number 1, or at least up there in like my first few slots, because I had already gone through an entire bottle. I mean, I was using it consistently, but when I really put it to the test and I looked at my skin and I looked at my fine lines and sort of how the product sat, I was not happy. And so I don't think this is the right foundation for me, especially as I've gone through my entire foundation collection and have found other more hydrating formulas that actually sit on my skin really nice. On to some better news. Because my skin was behaving so well, some days I just used all my skincare and I put this on. This is the Cotz Face Prime and Protect Tinted Sheer Matte Mineral Sunscreen. And I call it a facial primer, but I find that it has a decent amount of coverage. So it's this kind of moussey consistency, and it has this tint, and it creates this sort of velvet, creamy velvet mattifying thing. It's mattifying, but it doesn't feel mattifying. Like, it doesn't feel like it's drying your skin. It feels like another layer of hydration, and I just really like how this looked on my face. So I would put this on and maybe put on a little bit of concealer and then just layer on my face products. And I feel like this is just such a good summer product, and I am so happy to have it. So I did a couple of weird things this week. As I was using this sort of hydrating tinted moisturizer, there were days that I felt like, I forgot to powder. What can I use? And I don't know what possessed me to, in lieu of powdering, use kind of pore filling primers as powder. And oh my God, what a game changer. So this idea I had with the Clarins Instant Smooth Perfector. This is very much like a Benefit Pore Professional, you know, except it comes in a little pot, and I just want to show you what it does. So I don't have anything on my skin other than that tinted hydrator. I don't have any concealer or anything, but I just want to show you kind of what it does. So I would take a little bit of this, and when I was done with my makeup, just go over the areas where I have larger pores or more shine, and I would kind of paint this on my forehead. You can really tell. And this creates such a beautiful kind of diffused effect without adding more, and it didn't disrupt my makeup. And I'm not a makeup artist, but I have to say, I think this is a really cool trick. I would encourage you guys trying this. I'm only putting it on half my face so you can, number one, see it, and number two, I want to show you another product that I discovered does something very similar. So I hope you can see, just it creates this just diffused, mattified, but it didn't take down the life in my skin. And I just thought it was a really cool way to use this product. This doesn't have to be the product though. This is just a little sample, and I was like trying to make heads or tails out of it. I think it's fine. I think it's a nice product, but it's not the only one. In fact, as I kind of was looking through my collection, I pulled out this. This is the Yummy Skin by Danessa Myricks in the shade 3. It feels creamier than the Clarins, but it has a very similar effect. And if you just put on a little bit and you rub this on your skin, it becomes this powder. It's so cool. It's so cool. And I have been struggling. This one actually provides a little more coverage. So I think between the two, I would actually go with the Danessa Myricks. I had actually been struggling trying to figure out how to work with this Danessa Myricks product, because I don't like it as my full kind of foundation. I just don't like it on, but I like it as this sort of like setting step. I just think it does a really great job. And again, it provides a little bit of coverage. So I really like it for that. I just have to remember to use it this way. I mean, this is the problem when you get so much stuff in your collection. You might kind of stumble across a great way to use something, but then you forget. I really delved into my face palettes. Number one, because I recently saw that Charlotte Tilbury had released a new Glowgasm palette, and I had picked up her Nude Gasm palette a long time ago, and it's a palette I've really enjoyed. You can see I've loved on this, and so I wanted to refamiliarize myself with it. I hadn't used it in a while, and see if I really loved all the textures and what I thought of, especially kind of these shinier shades, to kind of figure out whether I wanted to purchase the new Glowgasm palette, which is actually a re-release, or if I could let it go. And after using this for a week, I realized I can actually let the idea of picking that one up go. I love combining these two and just using it on my face. I'm actually wearing it today. This blush is a little too shimmery. I can make it work. It's very pretty. With a good light hand, you can diffuse it so that you don't see as much of the sparkles. This highlighter though is not my cup of tea. So it's this pretty gold highlighter. I'll use it on my eyes, but I can't use it on the tops of my cheeks. I have very large pores here, and I just find that it highlights too much. So because I'm not over the moon about these, and I really love these, in looking at the new palette, it contains more of these type of formulas, and so I just knew it wasn't for me. However, it reconfirmed that I actually do like this one, and I'm gonna keep it around and play with it. It's similar to the other week where I tried the elephant palette. I also had the tiger palette by Hourglass, and I had hardly used this, and in using it, I just realized this is not for me. These shades, of course, they're just really deep. I thought I could make them work, but I'm not even that keen on This shade here, it's too shimmery. This one here, too metallic, too metallic. I can make this blush work, but it's an effort. It does not look perfect on me. And I was using this as a bronzer and it's a little too red for me. So I just think this is for someone else. So I'm gonna declutter it, and I just know someone's gonna love this. Another palette I revisited was my Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. This one here, this is beautiful. This is more of a powder bronzer, and I'll just swatch it next to the other bronzers, and it's a different shade altogether than those other two from the Nudegasm. It's a little pink leaning, it's pretty light, and I like that I have this variation. And then the highlight is a pretty subtle highlight for Charlotte Tilbury, and I like this highlight more than this one. So this is a great little compact. I would still highly recommend this product over some of her other releases. I also think that the packaging is very glamorous. And then in my kind of brought it back because I had decluttered it with the intention of decluttering it, I brought back my by Terry Brightening CC palette in Beach Balm. Packaging is stunning. It's this embossed, beautiful packaging. You could see I have loved on this. This has a very strong rose scent. It's one of the reasons I had decluttered it, but truthfully, once I started playing around with this again, this is so beautiful. These shades are so beautiful. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back. I gotta use this. This is great for travel. I like this color as a bronzer. It's pretty subtle. This is a really nice highlight. It's super subtle, and that's more my kind of cup of tea. And then these shades are so beautiful that it gives me the versatility I would want if I'm like on vacation. This is a perfect palette. So I'm willing to forgive the rose scent. I don't love it. I don't love it. I wish it weren't there, but it performed so well and it stayed on my cheeks so long, and I didn't break out or anything. I did my face so quickly with this palette. Now, I went through my blushes. I needed to start making some sense of my collection. So first, I started off decluttering these e.l.f. Monochromatic Multisticks. I have this one in Bronze Cherry, and I don't know what this color is. It's the kind of plummy one. These are actually really great. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I have all the Merit blush bombs, and I much prefer that formula. So if I started to go down that path of comparing formulas and what will I first reach for. So even though I stand by liking these a lot, I just like the Merit ones better. And so with that in mind, I'm gonna part with these. Same thing with these. These are the Essence, the blush. I have several shades: Beloved, Believing, Befitting. And all three of these I'm gonna part with. I've had these forever. I have given them a lot of love. It's just time to let them go. The only one I'm not willing to part with, at least not yet, is the shade Bespoke. It's this sort of weird nudie one, and I just really love it. So I'm gonna keep it around. This one stays, but the other three go. Similarly, I'm gonna part with this Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush. This is in the shade Bold Heart. This is really beautiful. I would recommend these blushes. I think they're very pigmented and they sit on the skin really, really beautifully. I just have so much. I have so much, and I have formulas I like better than this one. This one's a great drugstore one, but I prefer, like if I'm gonna go the baked blush route, I'm going for one of my Laura Geller blushes over this one. And similarly, I have a beautiful Hourglass blush that I have that is the same shade as this beautiful thing. Now, I would really highly recommend this blush. This is the Cheek Lover by Catrice. It comes only in one shade. This is Blooming Hibiscus. It's this radiant goldy peach. It's really pretty and it sits on the skin so beautifully. But I literally have a blush, Incandescent Electra by Hourglass, that when you combine this and swirl, it's the same shade. It's the same shade on the skin, and it's even more beautiful. This one by Flower Beauty, I've had also for a while. This is a flower pot in the shade Peach Primrose. This is a very pretty matte formula, very similar to the Milani blushes. I feel like they did a little copycat thing here, but they're very creamy, very nice. Just had it for a while. It's more neutral leaning than you think by looking at the packaging. As much as I like this product, it's not my favorite product of theirs. I have this dual pan from Fenty, the double cheeked up Impini Drapa and Malai Ooze, this one here. And I actually really love the cheek out formula, but this one to me just has felt much more dry than all the others. And I wonder if that's why it wasn't on like super sale. I also don't love the colors. So I think something was up with this one. Now, two blushes I fell in love with again, or one I fell in love with again, and one is actually new. The Clinique Heather Pop. This one here, it's what's on my cheeks underneath that Essence one. I kind of did some layering there, but these are just so much fun. They're so pigmented, but you can go really kind of ham with them. They're not delicate, even though they look like they would be delicate, but you can really kind of go in there with your brush, and they just sit so beautifully on the skin, and they last all day. I'm just layering it up even more. And Heather Pop is just the perfect pink. Highly recommend picking up cheek pops. The other cheek product of theirs that I really do love is the Sculptionary blushes, these cheek contour blushes. I have Defining Roses. It's this one here. It's like a 3-pan thing. And I also have Defining Nudes, which is really pretty. And actually, shoot. Now that I realize I have Defining Nudes, Defining Nudes is pretty new to me. Okay, so I can part with the Bespoke from Essence because I have this Defining Nudes, and this one is fresher than this one. This has been through hell and back. The other cheek product I tried, which was very impressive, is this new Kiko Milano Velvet Touch Creamy Stick Blush. I do not know a lot about Kiko Milano. I'm always kind of just overwhelmed by the amount of releases they have, and it kind of puts me off. But I did see Jen Phelps talk about this one, and when she swatched it and she kind of blended it, I saw how really smoothing and kind of blurring the product was, so I picked one up, and this is in the shade 7, and it's a very generous sized product. You could put it directly on the cheek, or you could put it in the back of your hand and do it that way. But oh my God, now I know I've put on tons of blush at this point, but this one, it really is blurring. It just kind of diffuses so nicely. It's really pretty. And for the price point, it's pretty great. You can even get them like kind of on sale. So I would recommend this formula. I find it to be very, very just smooth, very velvety. So I agree with the name, Velvet Touch. Absolutely describes this product. A bronzer I'm decluttering. I was never really over the moon with it. It's the Moira Signature Bronzer in Sunkissed Honey, this one here. It had this gold overspray, and really, even though it's actually quite creamy and the color's pretty nice, it's a little more yellow leaning on me. I just prefer other bronzers. And so this is what we're gonna get to now. It's gonna be kind of a face off. Every so often, it's something I'm gonna be doing, just kind of really lining up all my products and saying, okay, this is good, but this one's better, and I rather use better. Let's move on to eyes. There were some single eye products I used. So these Moira Lucent Cream Shadows, I'm gonna declutter these. They're good, they're nice, but compared to the rest of my collection, they really just don't stand to be used against another product. So I have the shade Cosmos, which is this green, and I wish it were that green. It's too black based, and so it shows up quite dark. Venus, this is a cool shifty one. Kind of goes from orange to pink. And then I have this one here, which is Eclipse, also another shifty shade, but in the blue family. Not the best formula for me in terms of staying on my eyelids, which are very oily. Additionally, I'm decluttering Ritz by ColourPop. This Color Shock. This is a really popular shade. It's very pretty, except mine has dried out. So it's not creamy, it's just this like sparkle. It is really dry, dry, dry. Now that I swatched kind of just these sparkles, I actually have some shades of Bodyography glitter that are exactly the same. So and those are basically brand new, so I want to use them. So I'm gonna let these go. I started to play around with my cream eyeshadows. I didn't use that many, but I did use the Violet Always On. This just doesn't work as well anymore. It's kind of patchy. I just think it's gotten old. However, some of the other shades that I used were the Grige and Barista, which I bought at the same time, and these are still so creamy and so good. So I'm gonna keep them. And actually, as I combine these, I tested them against the Color Chameleon by Charlotte Tilbury in Dark Pearl, this pencil here, and worn with primer, which of course my primer is the Smashbox Photo Intensify. They all worked really well. They didn't crease on me. So I do still have to use a primer when I use these cream shadows though. So on me with my super oily eyelids, I have to, otherwise they will crease. And if I forget to put a primer, I just kind of tap out the crease and it looks perfectly fine. But if you don't want them to crease at all, I would suggest a really good primer. Same thing with this Dark Pearl. This actually worked very well with the primer. I'm not convinced like it's the most beautiful shade on me or anything, so maybe I'll get decluttered down the road, but for right now, I'm keeping it. And then I played with two main palettes these last 2 weeks. The first is the ColourPop Muppets Holidays. When I did that massive declutter, I realized I have not played with this enough, and did I ever play with this? I had so much fun. I will insert some eye looks, but essentially this is not like a crazy palette. I know it could look like it has a lot of colors and might be off-putting, but I tell you, I'm wearing right now as a liner on my eyes this shade here, which when you blend it out nicely, it pulls more yellow, but you can get it to be more of this neon color if you build it. But all of these shades are actually so kind of fairy-like and beautiful, super easy to wear on the daily and not feel like you're overdone. And then you have these two wonderful creamy mattes. You have this really dark, dark, dark brown and this dark, dark, dark blue. And I love dark blue. I love dark blue eyeshadow. And you have these gorgeous shifty shades. This is the only shade that's like very kind of chunky, glittery, but the rest are very smooth. And I just had so much fun playing with this and creating looks. This is just a perfect kind of happy spring summer palette that's unexpected. I just have to completely ignore the fact that it gives like a Christmas vibe up front, but truthfully, it outperforms so many palettes. I'm so glad I got to really spend quality time with it and fall hard for it. So yay, I love that I have it. So if you have this palette, let me know, and let me know what kind of looks you've created, because I still am feeling very inspired. I don't want to put it away just yet, but I will, because I have to get through some of my other palettes that I don't feel I've given enough love to. The other palette that I have is one by MAC that I picked up. This is Connect and Color Bronze Influence palette. It's this one here, and I was really intrigued by this release, and this packaging is stunning. It's stunning. It is plastic, but it just feels very heavy duty and has this really pretty just image. And then the inside, it has a big mirror, which I haven't peeled off the plastic for. And this, heck, if it didn't remind me of Pat McGrath's, you know, the 6-pan palettes. And I don't really love Pat McGrath's formula, so I was like, oh, but I really liked those little 6-pan palettes, the idea behind them and some of the color stories. And this one sure as heck reminded me of one of them. I'm actually wearing it on my eyes right now. I'm wearing two shades, this one here, and I think it's these two shades I'm wearing. Yeah, but it really has just two mattes. This is really a dark, dark, dark green. And this is a really pretty neutral kind of mauve tone. And I don't know, I created some really pretty looks. It was super easy. The shadow formulation too from MAC has gotten better. it's gotten better. It was so user-friendly to just kind of dip my finger in, and they're so velvety, and just kind of press the color in, and it's kind of this olivey pewter shade, and it was so effortless, so effortless. So on this day off of mine, I was like, let me go to the Effortless palette. Really like this. I like this for travel. For my mascara, I'm still using the Tower 28. I am liking this so much better. I think it needed just a little bit to kind of warm up to me, but I'm wearing it today and it gave me just amazing length and really, really nice. Doesn't smudge or anything, so I get the hype. It's just straight out of the gate. It's not fantastic. At least it wasn't for me. Maybe it will be for you, but for me, it was kind of like, what's the big deal about this one? But now I kind of get the hype. For brows, I primarily stuck with the Precisely My Brow in number 5. Great, tried and true product. The other product, of course, is the KVD Beauty Brow Struck in light brown. It's my favorite brow powder. It's what I'm wearing in my eyebrows right now. One other MAC shadow I brought out was All That Glitters. This one here. I just wanted to compare it to the bronze. It is different. It has more of a rose goldness base to it, but it's really pretty and it's a really good one and done. So I did play around with it one day just to compare it to the Bronze Influence palette by MAC. I realized I did use a concealer this week. I have been using the L4, the Pat McGrath concealer. This, especially on a day where I've had very, very, very light makeup, maybe just a tinted moisturizer, I will use this a little bit to brighten, and it works really well. It is not creaseless though, so if you use this under your eyes, I do find that it creases even if you set it. Very, very high pigment, but I'm still kind of fussing around with it and making sense of it, but I do like it. I do like its creaminess. I do like how full coverage it is. I especially like it to cover up spots more than I do doing like the under eye. For lips, I got the sample of this MAC Locked Kiss ink, this one here, and I used a sample. The colors in the sample were really pretty. Ruby True, Most Curious, and Mischief. I'll insert a couple of pictures where I was wearing it. This is a liquid lip, but it's surprisingly comfortable. Kind of reminds me of the full dry down of the Too Faced Melted Matte formula, but it's more comfortable than that. Now, it says 24-hour lip color. No way. This lasted on me 1 hour, the lighter color, and all I did was just eat a salad. But of course it had like an oily dressing, but I've had better luck with regular lipstick lasting through eating a salad. So I don't even love matte formulas, but I did want to give it a shot, and I did love some of these colors. I especially loved Most Curious. It was just a great shade. Talking about loving Most Curious, I realized that I had a brand new Lisa Eldridge lipstick hidden somewhere. I literally never took it out of the box. It was Velvet Pompadour, this one here, and it's such a beautiful color. Oh my God, this shade is stunning. So kind of reminded me of Most Curious. So happy I pulled it out. These lipsticks, when they are fresh, are just really gorgeous and velvety and super, super high pigment. You can also use them as stains. They work very well as stains because they're so pigmented, you know, like you can just blur them out and you have a really pretty lip stain or cheek stain. So they're highly versatile, so don't be so afraid of the price. This is one of the few products of Lisa Eldridge that I will stand by and say it is a really good product. And I have videos on Lisa Eldridge and swatching all the shades, but this was a newer one, and I do feel as though this is sort of one of the most creamy ones of her True Velvet formula. So I don't know if she improved on the formula, but this one's gorgeous. Velvet Pompadour, I am definitely going to be wearing that this summer. Today, I am wearing the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude Lip Liner. Really like this lip liner, really like this tone. And then this was another kind of Saved by the Bell. This is one of the Charlotte Tilbury's Hot Lips in JK Magic. this one was on the chopping block for me, and I found my love for it again. I don't know why I thought I was going to let go of this. It's a little bit peachy. It's a little kind of like, it blanks out my lips a little bit, but when I use it with the lip liner, I do really like it. It's very soft, and yeah, I love the container. You know, it has little like moons and stars and stuff, and I'm such a Harry Potter fan, so yeah, I don't know why I was going to declutter this, but I'm not going to declutter it anymore. It's coming back into my collection. And then I topped it off with, one of my favorite lip glosses. This is the Flower Beauty CBD Chill Out Lip Glaze. This is the shade Peace Out. It's this one here. You see, it is well loved. It has this kind of bluish iridescence, which just makes your lips look so beautiful. But it's not glittery. And it has the most cushion. This is a fantastic formula. This is a formula that I can easily see myself swatching and going to war against all my lip glosses, because I think this one might beat out the majority of my lip glosses. I'm not kidding. But again, I don't know what's happening to Flower Beauty, so I don't want to like declutter everything, but I'm telling you, this is so good. This is so good. And don't pick any color, because essentially the majority of them are clear. I swatched every single color though, and I have a video of that, which I will link down below, but they're such a good formula. So that is essentially my roundup. Oh my gosh, that was so long, but it was covering 2 weeks. So can you blame me? I did my homework. I did my homework. I hope that you all enjoyed that you enjoyed that roundup. If you liked that video, hit the thumbs up, consider subscribing. Yeah, and just saying hi down below. I'd love to hear from you. So I hope everyone has a great start to the week, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everyone.